Hello. It is the Go Birds podcast presented by the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino app, live from the Super Bowl in Arizona. Look at Elliott Park. So for those who are not watching live on the video, if you're watching, hello, we love you. Thank you.
You see that right there?
He's at the Super Bowl. If you're not live, you can't see that Elliott is literally at Radio Row right now at the freaking Super Bowl.
Well, and you'll really
look at this.
What up? So you'll really appreciate this. So the way Radio Row is set up, there's like everyone has their own table. Like WIP's over there. You can see Kansas City tables and stuff. So I had to find a table that wasn't being used so that I could do this at Radio Row. And coincidentally, it appears there's no Dallas radio station here for some reason. So I thought you would appreciate that. I'm currently sitting at a table that seems to have been reserved for a Dallas radio station. Not here.
That is not amazing.
They are not at the Super Bowl. I guess
that is the best way I could have possibly started off.
Yeah,
Super
the
Bowl
second I saw it, I was like, yeah, I got to tell James this.
This is amazing. Well, let's set the scene because again, it's funny because I came into last week thinking about how happy I was that it was 2 weeks. It's like we have 2 full weeks to be excited about the Eagles in the Super Bowl and lead up to it. And there's going to be so much going on and all that. And I've reached the point, it's Monday of Super Bowl week. It's like, I'm ready. I need the game now. Yeah. Like I no more wait, Elliot. I'm so ready.
Well, and also we talked yesterday when I just got into Phoenix. Let me tell you, it feels much more like a Super Bowl than it did in Minnesota. Minnesota was awesome. The game was great. But ultimately, the Eagles spent their entire week inside the Mall of America. Like their hotel was there, the Radio Row was there, their Super Bowl party was there. Now, first of all, it's beautiful outside in Arizona. There's events everywhere, Eagles fans everywhere, the Radio Row. So this will be my 5th Super Bowl. This feels like a Super Bowl. The Minnesota one just didn't. And I'm telling you, man, being here, it's awesome. There's tons of Eagles fans walking around. Yesterday, Eric Allen was there to greet the team when they arrived to the airport. Even the airport arrival thing was way cooler than I thought it was going to be. So just coming into this, I thought it would feel like it did in 2017. And I thought in 2017, it felt that way because it was Eagles. And so I was working harder than I did when I covered other Super Bowls. But no, it is, again, any way you watch the Super Bowl is awesome. But if you're listening to this and you're saying, man, should I come to Phoenix? Come. It is awesome here. It is way, way, way cooler than I expected. And it just, again, look over my shoulder. There's a banner right there with Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts on it. Think about that. Think about where this team has come from me and you doing preseason pods talking about it. And now I'm sitting here at the Super Bowl and Jalen Hurts is on the same thing as Patrick Mahomes. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I that's really what I was thinking about a lot this weekend was just the how wild it is that we're, especially with the anniversary of 5 years ago happening. And you're thinking about winning that Super Bowl 5 years ago. And then all that's happened to get back there, how absurd it is, how it feels like it's been 15 years with all the things and all the changes and how different this group of guys is from just 5 years ago. It's wild. And especially the Hurts thing, to your point. I mean, how many conversations we have about Jalen Hurts and the leap and what kind of leap and all this stuff. And now he's on a banner with Mahomes at the freaking Super Bowl.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
It way quicker than I think anyone expected. It just feels, and it feels right. It feels right. The Eagles should be at the Super Bowl. This feels like destined this season.
So speaking of Jalen Hurts, guess who's right over there?
Is it Jalen?
You want to guess? No, it's Chris Sims.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah. Should I try to get, should I try? Well, so I was going to ask you this. Should I try to go up and get him on the pod? Not to do a live thing, but I'll if you could ask him, should I go ask him about Jalen and be like,
sure.
Buddy?
Yeah.
Buddy.
You probably shouldn't put him on the video with me because let's be honest.
No. I
will be mean to him. I won't be.
You
nice
will be
to
mean.
Him. Sorry, Chris.
You will yell, but it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
You'll be representing a lot of fan bases when that happens.
I still can't see it. Can you hear me, Chris?
Over there.
Chris, I hate you. Can you hear me? I think you're the worst.
There it is. Yes. So I'll try to get. I'll after this. I'll see if I can get 2 or 3 questions from him, and then I'll put it in the pod feed. If I
that
can.
Would
no
be
promises, but
amazing.
I'm going to try. And if I do, I will ask him. I'll say, "Do you think you were wrong?" I'll just say, "Do you think you were wrong?"
Well, I just love the idea that you're just doing the pod and there's Chris Sims right over there. No big
just
deal.
Right there.
No
there's
big deal.
People walking around. I mean, no one as cool as you, but there's a ton of media people that you. Pat McAfee's over there. Jim Rome is over here.
Wow.
Howard's going to be here soon. So, and then it's me, just a little old me. So
Our
it's
guy.
quite the experience. Yeah, exactly. ESP takes on Phoenix.
All right, let's and we're gonna obviously as the week goes on really preview the game and really dive into the matchups and all that. Elliot hasn't done all this research and have all these stats
I
at
know.
his
I really
disposal
am
for
ready to
no
get into
reason.
the game. Yeah.
We are going to, but just the feel right now, because that's really tomorrow moving forward. We're gonna dive into this game. But the feel, like, how do you feel, forgetting the all the people and stuff, just right now about this team?
Yeah.
Monday of Super Bowl week, you're there, the vibes are good and all that. Where's your
Yeah.
head at
So
right now about the game itself?
I think getting to Arizona and being here and seeing this has given me a different perspective on where the season is and where this game is. So I'll start by saying this. It's gonna suck if the Eagles lose. I'm not gonna sit here and say it's no big deal if they lose. Like they're gonna be like whatever, right? I get it. If you're an Eagles fan listening to this and they lose, it's gonna be really sad because this team has been awesome this year. They deserve to end this with the Super Bowl. But I will say, being here in Arizona makes me feel like, you know what? No matter what, it's okay. This team made the Super Bowl. They're going up against Kansas City. There's no shame in losing to Kansas City. They're playing in one of the biggest sporting events in the world. They've been awesome all year. I really feel like they've already kind of won. The season's already a success. If they lose to the Chiefs, it will not change how I view this team. It will not change how I view the season. Obviously, if they win, they go down as a legendary team, and there's all these discussions about this and where do they rank and all that. So there's a lot to be gained for sure. And look, they could win the game. They're like absolutely. But being here and seeing them in this, and again, like seeing Jalen up on all this stuff, seeing Nick get off the plane, in Phoenix, and all the media outlets like videotaping him doing it, looking at Brandon Graham walking up, like they've done it. Like they're here. They're here. This isn't the '04 Eagles where they'd lost so many times in a row and they had to win. Look, I think there's a chance they'll win. I think that I completely get it would be sad for people if they don't. But I really think like my overarching feelings, I've been here for 24 hours, is people should be proud of this team and where they're at. And whatever happens next Sunday, I would encourage people not to make it change how you view this because they've done it. They're here. Like this is it. People always say that Championship Sunday is kind of the last Sunday of the year. And it's kind of true. Like now they're here. They're in the spectacle. So before I got here, I probably would have said, man, if they lose, that's a big deal. You got blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I don't feel that way anymore. I feel like this is really, really awesome that they made it here. And I think everyone should be really proud about what they've accomplished.
So I agree and disagree with you. I definitely agree that like no matter what happens this year, by itself is a successful season. I mean, we feel like we have the quarterback and coach combo. They're in the freaking Super Bowl and all that. I agree. And I'm not going to be like mad at them or feel at all like they disappointed or didn't live up to what they could have been. But big but having said that, to the point you made initially, like first and foremost, I have not prepared myself for them losing at all. Like mentally, emotionally, like zero. I haven't even like conceptualized it as something that could happen. And that's my thing.
Wow.
That's my issue. I get it. But like,
I think a lot of people feel that way.
They're winning this game. Like that's where I'm at. They're winning this game. So like, I will be crushed if they lose. I just will. It doesn't mean I won't look at it and say it wasn't an amazingly successful season, but I will be crushed. And the Phillies thing, just having happened only emboldens me in that was a super fun run. I loved it. We have all these moments and stuff, but in the end, these guys had a chance to be legends, to be true legends, and they came up short. And we just know in Philadelphia sports throughout our entire lives that you don't get that many chances at this. And we're hoping we're going to have more. And it does feel like Hurts and Sirianni and Howie and this whole thing is strong for the future. Like I am excited about the future of this franchise, but we just know how hard it is to get here. And when you have a chance to get here in the biggest of games, in the moment of moments, like it sucks if you don't take advantage of it, no matter how proud I am of them, no matter how much I think this season is success, no matter what, like they still have to win. Like they have to win.
No. And look, again, you talked about your emotions there. And I think you're right to feel that way. And we're definitely a pod of like, we don't tell people how to feel, right? If you're listening to this, you're a real one, you're an auto downloader. I completely understand that if they lose this game, it's going to be crushing because as much as the Phillies were unexpected, when they went up 2-1 and then they lost, like I was crushed. I was like, oh my God, they're going to win. Where, like we're going to have a parade, all those things. So I get it, but they're not playing the Giants. They're not playing Brock Purdy and the Niners. The team they're playing, there's no shame in losing to this team. And if they played the Chiefs 10 times, maybe they would win 6 of them. But the fact that it's one game, and you're right about the point that, like, this is how you become legendary. You beat this Chiefs team in the Super Bowl, and that's it. Like, there's no more debate. They're the best Philadelphia sports team of all time, right? That's it. They're the Eagles, number one, so it matters more than other sports. But they would have been, 17-1 with Jalen. They would have beaten, again, a phenomenal team. Like the 17 team, we say it all the time. What makes that Super Bowl special is they beat Tom Brady and the Patriots. They didn't beat Jacksonville, right? Like it adds to it. But I also think the flip side of that is the Chiefs are really, really good. Like, I'm not going to say the Chiefs are better than the Eagles because I think the Eagles are probably the better team. But let's be real. The Chiefs have the better head coach, the better quarterback, and the better offense. So if I'm being honest with myself, how do I pick games all the time? Whenever we pick these games, do I ever say like, well, they have a great tight end, so no, I always say quarterback, head coach, offense. That's what I care about. And when I look at this game, I see the Chiefs as having that. So you say to yourself, you're going in with like, you have not thought about if they're going to lose. If I'm being honest, I'm going in thinking, look, they're probably going to lose this game. And if they win, it would be unbelievable. But I've come to peace with the fact that when I think back to this season, I will view it as an immense success. And I think that everyone should be so proud of what they've accomplished. And maybe that's a loser mentality. I don't know. I'm just being honest with how I feel that there's no shame in losing to this team. If they would have lost to the Niners, I would have said, man, that's a really bad way to end the season. If they would have lost to the Giants, it would have been a fucking catastrophe. Earmuff, sorry. But if they lose to this team, it's fine. Great teams, look, great teams lose to great teams all the time. And the Chiefs are really, really good. So I don't know. And maybe it's because I'm here. I don't know if that's why I have that emotion, but just seeing what they've accomplished and getting here and getting off the plane. I think it's really cool how far they've come. And I'm not going to allow myself to have one game dictate how I feel about this team.
Yeah, I will. It is what it is. You play to win the game. You play to win the game. Like you play to win championships, and they are there. And I do think they have a better team. And I actually do think you said the Chiefs have the better offense. Why? Like the Eagles might not have the better quarterback, but the Eagles, I think, are a way, way more versatile offense that can beat you in way more ways. Like I think it's harder to prepare to play the Eagles offense than it is to play the Chiefs offense. So like I get your point,
I don't know if
but
I
don't think it's a lock that the Chiefs offense is just better. Mahomes is better, but the Eagles have better receivers. They have a better offensive line, or at least as good an offensive line. They have other than tight end, they're pretty much better at every position on the field outside of quarterback.
Okay, so the Chiefs are first in points per game, first in points per drive, first in percentage of drives that end in a score, first in expected points added by the offense, first in 20-plus plays, second in 40-plus plays, second in third down offense, second in red zone offense. Like the Eagles are there with them on that. But I really think that, and I've thought this about the Chiefs all year too. I think like the macro view of the Chiefs for me all year has been, well, they lost Tyreek Hill, their defense kind of sucks, and Mahomes is reckless with the ball. I was wrong about that. This Chiefs offense is better than the Eagles offense. They just are. Even when they run the ball, they are a good running team. They just don't run it all the time.
They're not close to the same type of
running
team.
You're right. They're not. Well, no, they're not close to the same type of running team as the Eagles are. But they're not,
even when they run it, they're not close to what
the
Eagles are.
They're 11th in the league in yards, so they're almost a top 10 running offense.
It's context dependent. They have leads and they can run. Like there's all kinds of we've watched this Eagles team. Like the Eagles have had 3 games this season where they've had like 250 or more yards rushing. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, the Eagles are a better running team. I agree.
Way better running.
They are way better. I agree with you. They are a way better running team. They're probably twice as good as the Chiefs are at running the ball. But the Chiefs are a better passing team than the Eagles are. And especially when you look at the fact that the Chiefs, the Eagles haven't really passed the ball well in a while. And look, we went through this in the middle of the season, and then they just came out and passed the ball well. So maybe it's not a big deal. But the Chiefs' offense has been better than the Eagles' offense this year. That's just a fact. They score more points. They score more per drive. They score. They have more big plays. The Eagles that's a fact.
The Eagles have put in their backups like 6 times this year. They weren't trying to get as many points. Just saying points scored is such a simplistic way to look at what the best offense is.
It's the best way to look at it.
But again, could the Eagles not have scored more points if they didn't play Gardner Minshew like 4 fourth quarters or 5 fourth quarters this year?
But you're talking about
2 games without Ertz. Like
this
is crazy. Mahomes played all the games.
First of all, look, the Minshew starting 2 games thing is fair. Now they did score, if I'm not mistaken, 27 points in one game with Gardner. So
they did 10 score in the other one. 10.
Yeah, then that one matters for sure. And they had 14 against the Colts.
And then again, there are times where like they had 38 points and they're like, all right, let's take our foot off the gas. What could they have
but that's such a small percentage.
But again, like you're using it as this definitive type of thing. There's context to all these stats. Like
there is context.
Look,
in the Eagles.
the Eagles are certainly a more versatile offense. The Eagles certainly can beat you in more ways than the Chiefs offense. Like you could say the Chiefs offense is better because of points per game. I could say I think the Eagles are a more dynamic, tougher to face offense. Like either way, they're similar. And I think the Eagles have a way better roster man for man when you go top to bottom. So like,
I don't disagree.
Gap, let's put it this way. The gap between the Eagles defense and the Chiefs defense is way bigger than the gap between the Chiefs offense and the Eagles offense.
I agree with that. I think the Chiefs defense is the worst unit in this game. Of the 4 units of the 2 offenses and the 2 defenses, I think the Chiefs defense is the worst. But here's the other thing that I see when I look at this. The Eagles are used to dominating at the line, dominating at the line of scrimmage, right? Their defensive line always dominates the opposing offensive line. Their offensive line never allows pressure on Hurts, right? But if you look at the Chiefs lines are really good too. The Chiefs have arguably the best pass blocking offensive line in the league, right? So when you look at that, like, do I think that Eagles defensive line can dominate any line they play? Yes, because they're that talented, they're that deep, and it would not. I've said I think Hassan Reddick is Super Bowl MVP is a good bet. It wouldn't shock me, right? But I think the difference in when you go into this and say, how do the Eagles win? If you look at how the Eagles win this year, right? They get leads early, they rush the passer, and then they're able to control the clock, right? So rushing the passer is going to be tough against the Chiefs. I think getting a lead is going to be tough against the Chiefs. So when I look at this, I say, are they going to be able, if it's the second half and this game is close, which offense do you truly deep down trust more to score if they need to? Like, do you trust Mahomes or Hurts to score more? And that's what I'm saying. There's no shame in it being Mahomes. But like, let's be honest here. Like, it's Patrick Mahomes is the better quarterback and they're the better offense. And that matters. And look, I think Andy's not as good of a game day head coach as Nick is, but Andy is a phenomenal head coach. And the fact that they score all these points with, to your point, a worse roster speaks to the fact that because they protect Patrick Mahomes, he's awesome, and they scheme awesome, they're extremely tough to stop.
Sure, they're a good offense, but again, I don't think they are. If they are better than the Eagles, I don't think they're noticeably better. Again, I think the Eagles are a more versatile offense that can do more things and beat you in more different ways. And then again, I think the Eagles defense is way better than the Chiefs defense, like noticeably better. Like I think they're point.
Better. I agree with that.
I get it. You're boiling it down to, all right, I'm taking Andy and Patrick over Jalen and Nick, and that's fine. I'm taking the 22 starters over 22 starters. I'm taking the depth of the roster over the depth of the roster. Like the Eagles all season long have been the best team in football consistently. Again, they're 16-1 when Jalen Hurts starts a game. Like I get your point, but I don't like you can say that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in this game, and that's why the Chiefs should be a favorite or whatever the point is. But you can't say the Chiefs are better than the Eagles. They haven't been all year long.
Look, I think the Eagles are probably the better team. I don't disagree with that. I think overall they're probably the better team. I just know that when I look at, the last 2 years, and last year doesn't count as much, but I don't know. There's just part of me that feels, are the Eagles really ready to take this Chiefs team on score for score? Like we've seen when the Eagles are at their best, and maybe this is a silly way to put it, but the Eagles jump all over people. They get big leads. They dominate, right? I don't know. You're not going to do that against the Chiefs. I would be really, really surprised if they're up by 14 plus points at any point of this game, right? Or 17 plus points. So we're talking about a game that is likely going to be close. And if it's going to be close in the second half, the idea of Patrick Mahomes and Andy being on that other sideline is terrifying. I mean, you've talked about it.
I don't necessarily concede that it's going to be a close game. When I pick my score, I think the Eagles are going to win by double digits. Like I think they are. I think they are a flat up. Look, you're talking about this Chiefs offense. They put up 23 points last week or 2 weeks ago against the Bengals. 23 points against the Bengals.
Defense
and
is
good.
At
the end of the game, they need a penalty to win in regulation. But
the Bengals are really good.
What defense is better than the Bengals? Is the Eagles defense better than the Bengals? You're damn right.
It is. Okay.
So again, I understand your point, but you're acting like this hurts Mahomes, like this Mahomes thing is unstoppable. They just put up 23 points last week. I don't know.
Yes, but again, against
that is unbeatable. I think this Eagles defense can handle this Chiefs offense comparatively.
Do you?
Yes, I think they're going to win by double digits. I think the Eagles are a better football team. I think man for man, player for player. I've already talked about messaging. I've talked about motivation. Other than Patrick Mahomes, and I guess Andy Reid if you want to, but once the game starts, I'm taking Sirianni over Andy. So if you want to say first 15 or whatever, fine. But once the game starts, I'd rather have Sirianni. Other than Mahomes Hurts, I'd rather have the Eagles in every other situation. Every other situation in the game, I'd rather have them.
And again, I'm not saying that the Eagles can't win, right? I can't get where you are, which is you think they could win by double digits. I would be floored. I would be stunned. I would be, again, if they beat this Chiefs team by double digits, it's not like, again, it's not a debate. They're the best team in Philadelphia sports history. I just look at the monumental task in front of them. And I guess I think the Chiefs are maybe better than you do. Like, yes, you're right that the Eagles are, let's say the Eagles out of 1 to 10 are a 10. I think the Chiefs are 9.5. Like, I don't think that the Eagles are way, way better roster wise than this Chiefs team. If they were, their stats would be way better. They'd have way more wins. It's not the case. It's just not the case.
Well,
like
again, the Eagles only lost once with their starting quarterback playing, and it was the weirdest game of the season. Three.
Right.
They lost 3.
Yeah, so it's not like 7. I mean, it's 3 times, right? But also, like, so the Chiefs pass rush. The Chiefs pass rush is second in the league, right? It's the second best pass rush in the league. It's not as good as the Eagles. I'll concede that. But the Eagles' offensive line, and look, I haven't watched every Chiefs game, and I think the Eagles have maybe the best pass block. Maybe, like, I know how great they are. But me and you throughout the season have talked about that when you talk about this Eagles offensive line, they're better run blockers this year than they are pass blockers, right? And when you look at sacks allowed, and this is my other big concern, right? The Chiefs, to me, are a team that does not put themselves in bad situations. They don't have penalties on first and second down. They don't turn the ball over. Like, the Eagles are so used to playing, and they force teams into this, and maybe they'll force the Chiefs into it. But the Eagles force teams into, like, second and long, third and long, and they pin their ears back and they pass rush. That does not happen to the Chiefs as much. It just doesn't. When you look at the percentage of plays where Patrick Mahomes is in a third and long, it's easily the lowest in the league among the best 16 quarterbacks, right? I didn't look at all the loser quarterbacks, but, like, of the guys that matter, the top 16, it's easily the best. So this is not a Chiefs team that plays into what it doesn't play into the Eagles' strengths, in my opinion, is what the things the Eagles do to beat teams. I think the Chiefs are well equipped to stop them from doing that. And that's my concern. That's why I think it could be close. That's why I think the Chiefs could win the game, is because I think the Eagles are going to have to play a game that they don't normally play. This team doesn't play shootouts. They don't win shootouts, right? What's a shootout that they've won? They've scored a lot of points, and then teams have come back to make it close. But can you think of a game, and I'm not saying there isn't, but can you think of one where the Eagles have gone, like, score for score, like, up and down the field?
I just don't understand why it definitely is going to be that, though. Again, like, the Chiefs have played 2 games in the playoffs. They won 27-20 and 23-20. Like, I don't understand why you just assume this Chiefs offense is going to score all over this Eagles defense. I think it's going to be a lower, like, I would take the under. Like, I don't think it's going to go over 50. Like, I think this is like I think the Eagles win, like, and I'm not giving my score yet, but it's like, I think it's somewhere in the, like, 30-17 type of game, or wow. 27 or 30-20 or 27-17 or something like that. Like, I think it's that type of football game. Like, I don't think these teams are going to be running up and down the field on each other.
And look to your point, and I've said this, and I do believe this. Whenever there's a question about the Eagles, they come out and they answer that question in resounding fashion every time. Whether it's the Titans, whether it's the Giants, were a question for a different reason, but there were some people that were worried about that game. They came out and they dominated. The Niners, unique situation, but they did come out and dominate. So, again, if I had to break down, like, a percentage of what I think is going to happen, I think there's like a 30% chance that the Eagles do come out and it's just like, oh yeah, they're an unbelievable team that's going to win this game. I'm not saying that's like a 5% chance. I agree. The Eagles could come out, jump all over this team, and be the team that we've seen all year. To me, it feels like I think there's a higher percent chance that the Eagles lose than you do. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it seems like you think it's a relatively low percentage. I mean, I think the chance of the Chiefs winning are like, 45, 55, like that type of thing. Like, I think they have like a really, really good chance the Chiefs to win this game. And that's maybe why emotionally I'm going into it differently than you are. Like, I think this team has accomplished so much, and I don't think there's any shame in losing to the Chiefs. So I don't view this as you are, where you're like, haven't even contemplated they might lose. That's not where I am. That's our major, I think, the core of where we're different is I think there's a good chance and you don't. But I do see your point that they could come out and dominate. They absolutely could. My gut feel on this is it's not a game the Eagles are used to playing, and that's the concern.
Yeah, and look, again, obviously we've all had games where we thought, felt super confident going in, and it didn't go the way we thought it was going to go or the way we wanted it to.
Yeah.
Like, I get it, but I get, I just got to say how I feel.
I will
I'm
say
just
this.
not, I probably should be more nervous about this game. I'm just not. Like, I think the Eagles are just better.
Yeah, I will say this, to be honest. Like, in my time picking Eagles games, and I check my record, it's like 85-30 or what, like, when I'm wrong, it's normally when I think they're going to lose. There's very few times
so that's
where
good. That's good.
Yeah. There's there's very few times where I'm like, oh my God, this team, they're definitely going to win, and then they lose. It almost never happens. The times I can remember where I got things really wrong was like, I thought they'd lose to the Packers this year. They didn't lose to the Packers. Normally when I think they're going to lose is when I'm wrong. So I could be wrong. I'm just, I have to be honest, to steal a phrase from the High Hopes pod. I have to be honest with the Go Birds listeners.
Yeah.
And because me and you talk about this all the time off the pod too. Like this isn't just like a bit. Like this is really how I feel. And so we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you've been since the moment the matchup happened, I was like, there's a lock. And you're like, I'm more nervous than you are. Like from the jump.
Yeah, way more nervous.
And look, and again, look, I do think there is something to where, and we did it just on the midday show today. Like our general topic was like, are we too overconfident about this? And everyone's like, no, we're better. Like that is what Philadelphia feels. We did not get one person call up. When you called into the show, were the only person who expressed any sort of nerves for the game at all.
Well, so that's not surprising. Yeah.
But it is a little in that, like, I'm almost uncomfortable with how confident we all are. Like there's a part of me that's like, man, like everyone is sure we're going to win this game. That's a little weird and a little nerve wracking. We're not normally like that, but that's how it feels. Like it feels like we're all just like, they're winning, they're better. So it is like it's almost like it's the whole city is kind of just buying into this thing, and it's because they've been great.
And again, I said this on the show when I was on with you. Eagles fans and the Eagles have earned the right to feel confident. It's not a rational confidence. It's not talking yourself into a bad team where it's like, well, 2017 was clearly not a bad team, but 2017 was more. And you've said this, we in Philly knew what was going on and nobody else knew what was going on. I think that the Eagles are appropriately respected around the league.
They're the favorites in the game.
They're the favorites in the game. People are picking them to win. So if you're an Eagles fan, and I see a ton in the comments, and shout out to everyone that's watching, we got 44 people, which is I'm very happy about. There's a lot of people saying, they have a ton of confidence, and that is fine. That is justified confidence. This Eagles team has earned the right to every time they step on the field to feel they could win the game. I'm just not as confident as other people are because it's Patrick Mahomes, man. Like, is he really going to lose?
Look.
And you've said it too. You've said it too when they played the Bengals or the Bills, to a certain degree, it's a little bit of like, hey, man, it's Patrick Mahomes. And as good as Jalen has been this year, and, if Jalen beats him, then there's a really interesting discussion to be had about where he belongs. But that's just kind of where I'm at. And it's on brand for me. It's not surprising for me to say, I think the team that I think has the better quarterback is going to win the game and the better offense. And so, but we'll see. We got some time.
Yeah, we got a week to get you there. And
look, we got a week to talk about.
Look, it is Patrick Mahomes. I understand that the way we're feeling here is strange. But it's how we feel, But Mahomes scares me. He's the one part of this where I'm like, that dude is the ultimate pull it out his ass guy in the history of the game. Like it's unbelievable watching what he could do. And so of course, like could Mahomes just Mahomes it up? Of course.
I will say this. So from an injury perspective, the Eagles are going to have all their guys, and we can do the whole is lane 100% whatever. The bottom line is they're all going to play. If you look at the Chiefs players, they could be missing some guys. Now I think. Like Snead playing is a huge part of this. Snead is easily their best cornerback. I mean, they start 2 rookies at corner besides Snead. And Snead plays outside, inside. So he's huge if he plays. And I think he probably will. But if you look outside of that, Juju Smith-Schuster is dealing with an injury. Kadarius Toney
Mecole Hardman's already
Mecole Hardman's out. Yeah. Because he put on IR. Yeah. Like I said, Kadarius Toney blows, but whatever. I mean, he's dealing with an injury. So I do think, to a certain extent, the reason they are good on offense is not because of their receivers. It's because of Mahomes, the offensive line, and Andy. So I do think you can maybe just put anybody out there. But there's no denying the fact that if they don't have Juju Smith-Schuster or he's not 100%, I mean, that's a big deal.
All right. I want to get to a knucklehead in a sec, but quickly.
I have a hotel room take, by the way.
Ooh, okay. Well, before the hotel room take too quickly, you just mentioned, I was going to ask about the injuries, but in addition to the injuries, like, what other things should Eagles fans keep their eye on this week? Like, what are potential storylines that could be emerging throughout the week? Snead's status. Right. Like, that's one of them. Is there anything else while you're there that you just kind of feel like keep an eye on this for this week?
Well, that's what's kind of weird is like there's storylines from the way of, the Andy thing. And there'll be media night tonight and things will come from that. But from like questionable stuff, things that are up in the air, both teams kind of seem good to go outside of these Chiefs offense. Again,
Mhm.
these are both two really good teams. So when that happens and you get maybe the best two teams in the league in the Super Bowl, there's not a lot of questions going into it. We know who these teams are, so it's just health stuff. So yeah, I can't really think of other things Eagles should be monitoring other than the Chiefs injuries.
All right, media night. Set the scene.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be wild. So, I mean, obviously, I guess what you're asking is what I'm going to wear. So I think what I'm going to wear
That's
is,
clearly what I was getting. Yes,
yeah,
obviously.
exactly. I think I'm going to wear all black and then like a tan blazer. What do you think? Not tan, it's like a cream blazer.
Looks amazing.
Little pink flower on it, right? So no, media night's going to be wild. And we've talked about this a little bit, but it's worth reinforcing going into tonight. I think this team's going to absolutely crush it. This team has such great guys, such great personalities, and they're meant for this moment. They are uniquely prepared to dominate media night. Like Nick's personality, Brandon, Jordan Mailata, Lane, Kelsey, Slay, like all these guys, they're gonna be really good. Now, it'll be interesting to see Jalen. You know, it's not really a Jalen. It's not a Jalen kind of scene.
Right.
Maybe it will be. Maybe he'll surprise me. But on the surface, it doesn't feel like something where Jalen would be super comfortable. You know, like being asked to do all types of crazy things.
Mhm.
So, but I'm excited to see the team. And then, I mean, the Chiefs. You know, I'll go for what they. We'll see if they talk any trash or whatever. But I don't think there's a ton. The Chiefs are a little boring. Like Mahomes,
Yeah.
is what it is. Yeah. So I think like I'm excited just to watch this team. And this is kind of how I started the pod. Like they deserve this moment. They deserve to be in this moment where all the cameras are on them and all the people are seeing how great they are and all the people are seeing their personalities. Like I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's a great point. And again, like I said this before, it's just the way it is that, this season wouldn't have felt right if they didn't get to the Super Bowl. Like it just felt like all year long that there was no other acceptable end to the season than them playing in the last game of the year. So, I think from that perspective. All right. What's your hotel room take before we rip something?
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, is there any more Eagles things? I feel like no. We'll be doing it tomorrow.
We're gonna rip.
We're gonna get to Ayuk. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is maybe more of a final thought, but I'll.
Okay. So then real quick,
I'll save it.
Yeah, and look, I got some serious final thought action coming up too. I got a lot to say.
All right, so maybe I'll just do it now then, and then you can own the final moments since you.
Okay.
You're right.
Sure.
So I'll do mine right now. Okay. So, dude, like I don't get what the deal is with hotels and where they put the mirrors in bathrooms. Do you ever notice this? Like every hotel I'm ever in.
No. So I don't stay in a ton of hotels.
You don't, right? So I stay in a ton of hotels because of traveling. 9 out of 10 hotels, man, puts the mirror like literally right in front of the toilet. I've never understood why. It's so weird. It's like I'm just doing my business and it's like there's the mirror. Like,
how you doing?
Like, I would just love to know what the thought process was where it was like, I know where we should put the mirror right in front of the toilet. That's something everybody will enjoy. Every hotel. I've had to switch hotels because like I had whatever, but like both of them, right in front of the mirror. So
nice.
It's not the visual people probably want, but it is what it is. Like it's a design flaw in the hotel rooms is what I'll say.
I love it. It is definitely really strange.
By the way, 50 people watching right now. So shout out to everybody.
You are all our favorite people on the planet. All right, quickly before the final thoughts, like Brandon Ayuk, like, geez Louise, man. I mean, the biggest loser on the planet. Like, there is no bigger loser move than losing 31-7 and then spouting off. Like, how many times have we seen someone do something dumb like this? And every time you look like a moron. Every time you're the butt of the joke, buddy. Like Brandon Ayuk, you are a loser. Loser. Like just such a flat out all-time top tier loser.
So here's what I would say. Yeah, I agree. He shouldn't say this thing. What do you gain from saying it, right? Like from saying, well, I think we're going to win or I'm going to bet all my money on the Chiefs. But I also completely understand the emotion. If I'm him, if
he's butthurt.
Like, but let's be real. If the Eagles lost to the Niners and Jalen got knocked out in the first series, all of us would feel the same way. The pod would be, man, I wonder what would have happened if he stayed in. I wonder they would have won the game. And I think people would be saying that, talking about it. Now, the difference is Brock Purdy is not Jalen, right? And I know that their backup, Josh Johnson, wasn't great. So I do understand what he's saying. And I do get the petty part of picking the Chiefs. So I actually think what he's saying, I appreciate as always, like a true emotion in a quote. But yeah, well, like, what are you doing? Like, why say it? And it's also funny because it always happens. Like the Vikings said the same thing. The Saints said the same thing. So I think the bottom line is whenever a team loses, they're very good at talking themselves into that they actually should have won. So
yeah, and look, I get it. You're competitors, you want to win, you think you're better and all that, but like you lost. Like, I don't care what it is. Like, you lost, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. You look like a fool. You look like a fool, man. Like, it's not pumping up your fans. It's not that you look like a moron. You like it is beyond. Like, I can't. It's just so, and it's like another quote each day. It's like, oh, now there's a new one. There's a new one. Oh, you're the greatest team ever lived. Congrats, buddy. How's this?
I wonder if he'll be at the Super Bowl. You know, like doing like radio interviews and stuff.
I'm sure he's got to go play some money on the Chiefs, doesn't he?
Won't be playing, but
God, what a loser. It was just it's like reeks of loser. It's a big loser energy. Honestly, now knowing this, I'm happy the Eagles drafted him drafted Rager instead of him. How about that? I'm happy they took Rager instead of Ayuk. That's how much I hate you, Brandon.
And he's not that good. Like, he's not that good. Like,
he's better than Rager, but you know
he is. But like, I'm saying, like, going into that game, how often we were previewing it, did we talk about him? Yeah. Did he come up a single time? I can't think about it, right? No. So yeah. I understand the saltiness, but it is saltiness.
What a loser! Just a flat out loser.
Good point by someone in the comments. At least Micah Parsons is pulling for the Eagles to win the Super Bowl.
How about that? And I actually I appreciate the brotherhood thing. Like, if that were an Eagles player saying that about the Cowboys, I would be pretty angry about it. But I'd be furious. You'll keep it
as long as it's pro real. Eagles. I think
gotta be real.
Yeah.
But you know, it was nice. I like it, Micah. Also, Brian Schottenheimer, Cowboys, hilarious. I mean, we're just getting wins everywhere. It is such a beautiful thing. Seeing everyone melt down around us is beautiful.
Well, and also another good thing. Now, I think it's Wink Martindale, right? I always get his name wrong. Like, look, I would never in a million years hire him as a head coach. And I don't think it super matters. But if the Giants lose him, like, that's a pretty big deal. Their defense was by far the best unit they had. So,
well, and Kafka is one of the front runners for the Cardinals job.
Yeah, that'd be a big loss for them too. Yeah,
be pretty hilarious and that's something we haven't talked about enough. I do think that, you know, with the Eagles being so great and all that, the fact the Eagles are in the Super Bowl and have a higher draft pick than these teams, when like
so funny.
It would have been so much better for those franchises to just, you know, get a quarterback or like, you know, get CJ Stroud and move forward or whatever. It is just phenomenal how mediocre they were this year. It's just delightful. I love it.
I agree.
All right. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say like maybe that's part of the reason why going into the game, and it's really not the main reason. The main reason I think I'm at peace with the fact they could lose is because I think there's no shame in losing to the Chiefs. But it's also reality that this team is massively set up to win. You know, like if the Sixers made the finals this year, it would be like, man, you really got to take advantage of this.
Yeah,
the Eagles could lose this game, and again, who knows?
The future is bright. The future is bright.
Outside of anything can happen. Like, objectively looking at the team, they are better set up than almost every other team in the league.
All right. My final thought, multiple. I'm going to have a take it.
Ready,
So I got thoughts. So I figured I would just, you know, since it's the Monday, it's Super Bowl weekend, I'm doing the takes thing. I'll just tell you all about this movies I watched this weekend and all this stuff because I have so many thoughts.
Can't wait.
Yes. So first and foremost, I watched, unlike you, Elliot, who I know you're averse to, first of all, older movies, but also like classics you've never seen. I was like, you know what?
Right.
I'm going to knock some movies off the list this weekend. I had never seen Cliffhanger, a classic
I never even heard of it, so
I figured. Well, I was gonna guess like how many of this stuff you've heard of. When Sly Stallone, classic Cliffhanger. I saw Wall Street. I had never seen Wall Street before. You had to have heard of Wall Street, right? Gordon Gekko. Creed is good.
I don't even know who Gordon Gekko is.
Michael Douglas.
I thought maybe Tom Hanks was in that. Oh, Gordon Gekko is the character. I thought that was the
character. Michael Douglas.
Okay, yeah. I do know Michael Douglas. I know who Michael Douglas is. Yeah.
I thought you would have. Okay, so I thought you would have heard of Wall Street. So mine.
I
watched Pursuit of Happiness. I'd never seen that one. You used to have Will Smith.
I've heard of that one. Yeah. Oh, I've not seen it, but I've heard of it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, and then I also watched a newer one, You People, on Netflix, which I figure you will watch because it's brand new.
Oh, I did watch that. Yeah.
It's really funny.
I fell asleep during it. But you know what's funny? I fell asleep and I woke up and I'm like to Chris, I'm like, so did they end up together or what? She's like, how long have you been asleep? Here's what I'll say about it. I thought it was good and it was funny. And I missed the last half hour because I was asleep. But it felt like it was very predictable thing. It was like the whole thing was like exactly what you think the movie about this. Yes. It was no like interesting twists or turns.
No, but I will say, like, I laughed out loud a lot more than I do in like new movies that I see. Like, I laughed a lot. So I thought it was quite fun.
The funny thing to me is that nobody comments on the fact that Jonah Hill's hair looks the way it does. Like,
it's just hilarious.
I thought it was a bit that was going to get made of throughout the fun of the movie. And no, it's like everyone's like, yeah, that's how his hair looks. And it looks ridiculous.
Yeah. He's funny, though. It's good. I like seeing him doing comedies again.
He's had an underrated career.
He's had a really good career. Yeah, he's been nominated for Oscars. He's been in great comedies, all that stuff. Okay, he wrote that movie, too. You people, he wrote it. All right, so quick thoughts, a couple quick thoughts on these movies. First of all, cliffhanger. If you haven't seen it, I'm gonna just give away the opening thing. It's a very opening scene. It's very famous.
I think at this point, spoilers are off the table.
Okay, so we're good. So the opening
90
scene,
years ago, whatever.
The opening scene, this woman dies. She falls off a thing down into off a mountain. It's wild,
tragic.
But Stallone has a chance to save her, and he's holding her with one arm off the edge of the thing. He looks in her eyes and says, "You're not gonna die." And then a minute later, she falls. It's one of the all-time, imagine looking in someone's eyes and saying, "You're not going to die."
Is that why it's
and
called
then you
cliffhanger?
Well, because he's a mountain climber. It's part of it.
Okay. So I do think falling off a mountain would be an easy top 3 way to die, because the whole time you know what's coming. It's not like if you get shot and it's like, well, that was quick and you didn't know. Like if you're falling off, it's not. It's like you're falling off a cliff.
Well, this only ends one way.
Yeah, exactly. You're literally in the air being like, wow, this is really about to happen. And then it happens. And it probably really hurts. Yeah.
Couple funny things. They find a way to get Sly in short sleeves, even though he's out on a snow covered mountain, and he's climbing up the mountain in short sleeves. And it's like, dude, you would have frostbite. He's outside for hours. At one point, he gets knocked under a frozen lake, frozen ice lake, goes under, comes out, not just survives. He gets out, he puts on a towel. He's just keeps going. It's like you'd be frozen. You would be frozen.
Yeah. I don't think he'd survive it.
Stuff. No, it was pretty great stuff. It was pretty wild, though, to think it was made in 93, the same year as Jurassic Park. And Jurassic Park is feels like it could have been made today. And this felt like it was made 50 years ago. Yeah. But still super entertaining. Wall Street was super fun, too. If those who haven't seen it, I will say it has something that I love in movies. And oddly enough, Pursuit of Happiness has this, too. And I had no idea. I love when real life fathers and sons or mothers and daughters or whatever it is are in a movie together playing. So they have Martin Sheen as Charlie Sheen's dad in the movie. I love that. That is
good, yeah.
People should do that way more often.
This is not extremely related, but it kind of is. In the sequel to The Christmas Story that HBO made, they used all the same characters, and I thought that was really cool. In retrospect, it's really not related to your point at all. But it was really cool that I thought they did it. But to your thing, I also go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yo, you're good. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so the movie, I think it's with Steve Carell, and the son, I think, is Timothy Chalamet. It's called I don't know. It's what you're saying. Any movie with a father and son thing is always a hits the heart type of movie.
Oh yeah, buddy. Well, yeah. So I actually thought, now I'm father-daughter guy, right? So a father-daughter thing gets me. Yes. So I wanted to list off, because I think this has a great cast. I want to see if you know any of these people. I love all these people. I don't know. I'm intrigued to see listeners think about how many you know of these people. Some you absolutely should know. Some I don't expect you know. But ready? Here's the list. Tell me how many you know. James Spader, Hal Holbrook, Saul Rubinek.
Stop. Oh wait, am I just gonna tell you at the end? I'll keep track. Okay, go ahead.
Okay,
James
Spader, Saul Rubinek. So you obviously know James Spader. Hal Holbrook, Saul Rubinek, Daryl Hannah, Terrence Stamp, Sean Young, John C. McGinley.
I feel like maybe Sean Young, but I also might be thinking of a sports writer that's named Sean Young. So
It's a woman. Does that help?
Well, sorry. There we go. So I'm not getting that one right. Yeah. And even the first guy, what was his name?
James Spader.
Yeah. I definitely know the name, but I don't.
The Blacklist. You ever see that? You know the TV show, The Blacklist. He was the star of that. Anyway, regardless, it also has Charlie Sheen and Michael Douglas. It was.
I know Charlie Sheen. Yeah.
You know Charlie Sheen. All right, and then so I had more final thoughts. I was gonna look, but I'll add them the rest of the week, because we're you got to get out of here.
We got time. But,
so I'll add a take to the last one though, to you people. And this is not a super controversial take, but I believe it to my core, and I will say it aggressively and strongly. Peak Eddie Murphy, 80s, early 90s Eddie Murphy, is the funniest human being who has ever lived on this planet. Period. End of discussion. It's over. The funniest person who ever lived, Eddie Murphy, 80s, 90s. Ever.
So here's what I'll say about Eddie Murphy. A a lot of the SNL guys don't really do it for me. Like I love Nutty Professor and all, like, and it's probably because the classic movies he was in, I just never really saw or watched.
You haven't seen all his great ones. You're going
exactly,
after my time period. You're not. I'm talking
exactly
like Cop. I'm talking Coming to America.
Like
I'm talking Trading Places.
For me, Eddie Murphy is like Dr. Dolittle and like the Nutty Professor. I'm just being honest. Like that's for me is who he is. So like I would, he would be far down the list for me of funniest guys. But he's obviously very funny. Like I can acknowledge he's funny. But
this is tough.
Yeah.
This is tough.
It's fine. I mean, were you surprised by this at all?
No, I'm not. Yeah. I'm not. So anyway,
look, I'll acknowledge it. Eddie Murphy, funny guy, 100%. Just as much as I like Dr. Dolittle, it's not one I rewatch.
Yes. Well, that wasn't one I would have said, but yes, sure. Yeah. Also, shout out to Naive Melody, Talking Head song used in Wall Street. If you don't know the song Naive Melody, check it out. It's amazing.
I'll do one more shout out. So the third episode of The Last of Us, and I didn't watch last night, so nobody spoil it in the comments. But the third episode of The Last of Us was unbelievable. Well, it's with our boy Nick Offerman. By the way, Seamus Clancy walking right there. But Seamus Clancy in the spot. Nick Offerman is in the third episode, and it's like beautiful. Like it's beautifully written. The plot's amazing. Like it's just, that show is awesome. By the way, did you see that there's an article I saw on CNN about there's like worry about fungus now? Like there was about like how insane is that? I'm telling you, I swear on my life. And remember when I said that I thought Last of Us seemed a little realistic?
Yeah.
Just saying. Hopefully not. Hopefully not, obviously. Falling off a cliff, probably top 2-way. Having your body overtaken by fungus, probably top 5, I would say, on a way to die.
Love it.
Yeah.
This is good. This is good. All right. We got anything else? I feel like we've petered out here. I think we've reached our end.
Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good.
Tomorrow we will be back tomorrow morning. So check us out, 7:30 or something like that. We'll tweet out. Morning. I think so. Isn't that what we talked about? That was the original plan. So maybe it won't be. We'll tweet it out. Check it out. The original plan was the morning, but
it is pretty cool doing it here, I will say.
Yeah. Well, we'll figure it all out then.
We'll figure it out. Yeah.
Okay. So a good question by Drew. How are we doing on getting Quinta Brunson on the pod? We've done nothing. So if anyone out there knows Quinta, go hook it up.
I would say to Drew and the listeners, what are they doing about getting Quinta Brunson on the pod?
That Drew, that's the correct answer. All right.
You know what I mean? Like, what are they doing? I'm about to walk over to Chris Sims. Is anyone else?
That's true. It's a great point by you. Love it. All right. We'll be back tomorrow and the next day and all that. We'll tweet out when we're going to be on. And look at Elliot. Just got to go walk around Radio Row. No big deal.
Got to just be the big J I am, man. Just out here being a media member.
Love it. So, all right. We'll get more from Elliot tomorrow. Until then, he's Adam James.
Yep. All right.
Bye, guys.